Hello everyone! Once again, we're going to delve into the world of 1970s Campbell soup cookbooks and see what they have to offer. I think I've picked what's going to be a really easy meal, so let's keep our fingers crossed that it's also a tasty meal. Also, stay tuned because in the end, we're going to announce how you can enter into our cookbook giveaway. I'm really excited about this because I have not one copy of this. I actually have 3 copies of this cookbook that I will show you in a close-up later. So 1 for me and 2 for 2 of you guys, whoever is going to win the cookbooks. I can't wait to see where they're gonna ship out to, and I really hope you guys enjoy them. So let's go ahead, we're gonna get this dinner started, take a close-up of this cookbook, and then taste it to see if it's any good. So I've got my shortening nice and hot. Let's go ahead and add our beef. We're gonna let this brown for a little bit on all sides, and then we're gonna add our soup, cover it with a lid, and let that simmer for a while. Now, when I went to the grocery store, I completely forgot which onion soup to get. Apparently, Campbell still makes 2 of them, the cream of onion and the French onion, but after reading the recipe, I'm pretty sure it's going to be this one here, the condensed French onion. So we're going to use this one and save this guy for something else. This looks nice and browned, so I'm going to go ahead and add our French onion soup. It also says a 1/4 cup of water, but I'm going to put a little bit of water, about a 1/4 cup, into this can so I can swish it around and then put it in there. And if you're wondering what's in this bag with all these green things coming out, this is actually garlic that my mom grew this year. She just brought me a bag of some of the bulbs this morning. So now I need to come up with some really cool recipes to use that because I bet it tastes awesome. And in goes our water. And we are going to reduce this heat on fairly low and let this simmer until tender with a lid on. And while that cooks, we will go ahead and do all of our vegetable cutting, which shouldn't take us too long because basically it looks like we're going to be making a roast, you know, like kind of like a pot roast in a way, you know, with all your carrots and potatoes and stuff. So I think this is going to be really good. It smells really good, and I like the fact that it has limited ingredients so we can get this out quick. And I almost forgot, this does require salt and pepper while you're sauteing this, but remember, Campbell's soup can be pretty salty, so I'm going to add the pepper and just a little bit of salt, but I'm not going to actually put as much as what they recommend until I've tasted the dish and, you know, see if it needs any addition, but I kind of don't think it's going to. So let's just go ahead and add some pepper to this, a little bit of salt, and we'll call that done for now. Now we need to go out to the garden and get some parsley, so let's go ahead and see. I discovered this morning that some bugs Probably a caterpillar actually, had started chewing on my parsley. So I moved it from where I had to another spot in the yard, hoping to thwart the little bugs. That's just something that happens in Tennessee. We've got a really bad bug problem because our winters don't get very cold, and so they just kind of keep living. So let's go outside and we'll see if I've got any left. All right, so I've got my parsley here. You can see it. The bugs really like this type of parsley better than this one. So let's go ahead and use this one. We'll let this one rest and hopefully grow some more. But I don't want to cut into that and stress it out any more than it is. So I'm going to leave that alone and go for this one. Alright, so this is still simmering. We're going to leave that alone for a little bit longer. I've already got the vegetables chopped. We've got our flour ready. We picked our parsley. So let's go ahead and take a break before we look at our cookbook, and I will show you what is going on in my garden this week. And here we are outside. I really just wanted to show you kind of what happens after a really good rain. It's been raining for the last couple of days, and look at the explosion of mint that happened because of that rain. The strawberry mint got really big. Look how bushy the orange mint is. And even the chocolate and the regular mints over here has done really well. So I've been really happy with that. And of course it smells wonderful. You can see in there, I've got me some more greenhouse cats. The neighborhood cats just kind of congregate wherever they want to. And of course we feed them and take care of them because, you know, they do spend some time over here. So, you know, if they want to stay nice and dry in the greenhouse, you know, I don't say too much. You can see even the herb garden has exploded. This is a soap plant. You can actually use this to, you know, create a type of soap for laundry and dishes and that kind of thing if you want to. But look at those beautiful flowers on it. I mostly let my herbs in here go to flowers so I can attract some pollinators. And it's been working really well because I've seen a lot of bees and butterflies in here lately. Now my lemon verbena, it kind of exploded in growth because of that rain and it looks gorgeous. My little planter box is doing so well. I love how tall and beautiful everything's gotten. Some of you may remember these when they were just little itsy bitsy babies. This is the oregano from the University of Tennessee trial that I'm in, and both cultivars have done really, really well in our climate, so I'm really happy about that. The carrots, on the other hand, are a different story. Now this is a purple carrot, and you can see it germinated really well, and it's growing nice and big, and it seems to like our Tennessee climate. But then here's a, let's see what this one is. That is the orange carrot. And you can see germination was not good. And the ones that have kind of pushed up, they're just kind of not growing as well. But that's okay because that's something you might come to expect when you're doing a seed trial. Some of them are going to do really well in your climate and some of them are not. That rain was really good for the echinacea too. You can see that it is popping up and wanting to fully flower. And this giant thing, if you will believe it, is a kiwi bush. We bought this years ago. You can see it's actually crawling on down my laundry line here, and it's actually trying to go down the laundry line on that side too. We had no idea that it was going to get this big, and this is one of the reasons why I decided to do the Master Gardening program, so I could learn what to do and what not to do. One good thing about him though is that he actually provides some shade for some of my plants that, you know, Tennessee sun is just a little too harsh for her, so you can see these plants have been doing really well with just a little bit of shade from that kiwi plant. The beans are getting bigger. You can see they're already sending their little tendrils up the trellis. The dill is doing good as usual. Here's my loofah plant. You can see he's starting to get really tall and really cool looking. Can't wait for him to make something. We've got a cucumber here. The rain benefited him as well, and he's already starting to make a little baby cucumber. Chamomile likes it in this corner. We've got a really cool looking tomato plant. He is going to make more like a purple colored cherry tomato, so that's going to be really cool. The other tomatoes are doing just as well. I think they're liking the fact that they've got basil next to them. But now here's another problem we have. These were two other tomatoes that I tried with the UT seed trial. You can see how this one shot up really nice, but now he's having some problems. So I'm not really sure what happened, but it could just be that it's not a good cultivar for our climate. But this one's doing really well. This one's going to stay a little bit on the smaller side because you're supposed to leave it in a pot. But so far so good with him. Now all the garlic has been taken up, and a little tomato has been put in its place. Our lettuce is still looking pretty good. Our straw flowers are getting so big. I cannot wait for them to actually produce flowers. Our pepper box and our celery is doing really well. Look how tall they're getting. They like to be in the center of this garden. So I'm going to leave them right where they are because they're already producing flowers, which means that they should have some little peppers coming pretty soon. In fact, we already have some on the pimento peppers, so that's going to be really cool. Something we can harvest later when they turn nice and red. And this is what I'm so excited about. Look at the onions. They're already getting nice and big, and pretty soon I'm hoping they'll be ready to harvest. I cannot wait to get fresh onions out of this box. And our little zucchini plant has liked the rain as well. He's gotten a lot bigger, but look at this one. Here's the squash plant that I started from seed. It's already making fruit. Can't wait to try some of it. And our lettuce is looking really good over here. Now you will see something got into the lettuce. I've come out here and I did pick for several days in a row. I would come out here and pick the pest that was in the cabbage. They didn't get this one too much, so this one's gonna be pretty good. But I don't use any pesticides or herbicides or anything, so that might be just a lesson learned for next year to come out here earlier than what I did and pick out the pests on the plant. You don't see any of them now, so I've disrupted their life cycle, which is what you kind of want to do, and hopefully they will not come back. We are ready to add our vegetables to the mix, so let's go ahead and get that started. Hopefully this pan's big enough. Oh, I think it will be. Oh, doesn't that look beautiful? This really is like a beef, kind of like I said, a pot roast in a skillet form. I think this is gonna be so good. Now we'll go ahead and cover that, let that simmer in place. And while that's happening, let's go ahead and take a look at this little cookbook. Now, as I said, I actually have 3 versions of this little cookbook. They all have the identical cover on the front, but they're actually different years. Now, mine is published in 1974. I have one from 1976, and here's the oldest at 1970. Now, these two, the 74 and 76, are fairly the same, but this one is actually a little bit different. We have a different, cover on the front. We have a little bit of some different chapters, a few different recipes, and we definitely have different pictures. So this was kind of a surprise. They've, kind of updated through the years, it looks like, with their pictures, but they kind of stayed pretty standard with the recipes themselves. Now, I'm actually, the reason why I decided to keep this version is because there was a couple of pages in here where an overzealous cook looks like they splashed a little bit of soup on the pages. So I decided to keep that one for myself, and these two looked fairly pristine given their age. But this is a cute little cookbook. I actually really like the compact size and the binding. I think it's really nice, something that you can keep in your kitchen that won't take up a lot of space. I really like the vintage illustrations. I think the chapters are a lot of fun. We have things like, what to put with soup. We have for teenagers, we have for men, we've even got for Weight Watchers. So they were really running the gambit for this one, making sure that everyone in America would be able to eat something with their soup. Now, of course, because this is the 1970s, you're gonna get your standard fare of hot dog recipes in here. It kind of wouldn't be complete without some kind of, odd combinations of the decade. You also have something like cakes and cookies. So if you ever wanted to do a tomato cake, then this cookbook has you covered. I really enjoy the pictures in this, of course. I always love a really good 1970s cookbook. I really like the fact that this one, at least this hot dog, they left plain and, relatively good looking. They just added a mug of their really good soup. We've got a nice chapter on lunchbox meals that I thought was pretty cute, because here you go with some, what to pair with their cans of soup, and some combos that actually look pretty good. We might actually come back to this one day and see if their lunch combos actually taste good and stand the test of time. And of course, you've got chapters on what to do with their soup. So, you can add some things that'll punch it up and make it look like it's homemade when it's actually Campbell soup. And hopefully no one will know. Now, that's my copy. Here is the 1976 copy. You can see it looks really nice. I don't even know if the person that originally owned this even used it, because the pages are just so nice looking. You can see that we've got pretty much, actually I think they're pretty identical actually to mine. So you've seen this photograph, so this is the same, and I'm pretty sure all through this cookbook, I know that one is in mine. So this cookbook is fairly identical. The only different we have in the three is the 1970s version. You can see this is different, but as I showed you before, a lot of these little illustrations are different, and the pictures are definitely different. You can see these pictures are really cool, though. I really have enjoyed. Now, this one's the same, but this one I know is different, and a lot of the other ones, definitely this one. So we have, some similarities, but I like the fact that they went through and they kind of updated, periodically and republished throughout the years. So these are the two that will be in the giveaway. Now remember, these are actual vintage cookbooks. So there is going to be a little bit of, wear and tear on some of them. These are obviously have been around for several decades. And so, they've changed hands a few times, but they're still oldies but goodies. And if you are a vintage cookbook collector, then you're going to really like these, especially if you really like these vintage company cookbooks that really try to come up with some really, should I say, creative ways of using their product. And some of them might actually be some misses. But that's the fun of a vintage cookbook, because you never know what you're gonna find, and you kind of never know, what the fads of the time were. And so it's really fun to look through and just see what were people eating in that decade and what was considered cool in food. Now, don't worry if Campbell Soup's vintage 1970s cookbooks don't suit your fancy or your lifestyle. I have got some more cookbooks that I'll be doing giveaways for in the future, and they're all kinds of cookbooks. I even have some vegetarian from the 1970s that are really cool that I can't wait to delve into, and one of those will be a giveaway. So stay tuned, because I hope in the future I will have you covered. All right, I think we have cooked this long enough. The potatoes are pretty soft, so I'm gonna go ahead, and I've already mixed the flour with the 1/4 cup of water that it called for. We're gonna add this to thicken it, and then once that's heated through, I think we're ready to eat. Okay, we are finally ready. I say we go ahead and do the actual taste, and then I'll talk a few things that I kind of ran into with it, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right.
I don't want to wait.
Let's see how this stacks up. Okay. Exactly what I thought. A beef roast. You know what I mean? Like something Mom would make and actually still makes to this day. I mean, periodically. So yeah, if you want a quick, easy version of a beef roast, I think you've got it right here. I actually, I don't, and this is weird because I thought that I would taste like kind of that overwhelming Campbell soup taste. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I don't.
But I don't.
Actually, until like you mentioned it, I forgot we were doing a Campbell soup recipe thing.
Right.
Like, it's not, there's no hint of it really. Like it
just gives the onion flavor and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was right, I think, in terms of like being careful with the salt. I added probably half of what they recommended, and I think it's fine. I
wouldn't add.
So don't go crazy with the salt, because how cans of soup can be like really high in salt. Here we go. We're 2 for 2 with the 1970s Campbell's Cookbook recipes. I think this one, is really perfect for if you're wanting something just kind of easy to throw on the stove. Now they do say to simmer it for, like a 30-minute block, and then an hour after you've added the potatoes and carrots. I don't think we actually went a full hour because I cut mine a little bit smaller of the vegetables than what the recipe calls for. So you may not need to do that if you kind of like dice it a little more into bite size.
I think like you could maybe do it in like a pressure cooker kind of thing.
Oh, you probably, yeah.
That would maybe even speed it up more.
Right.
And take that out.
And
if you've got it. But like
that actually leads me into a little bit of a caveat that I was going to talk about. I had to add water to my skillet twice. Do pay attention, check it periodically, because you may actually have to add water to this.
Right.
And so like you were saying with the electric pressure cooker, you wouldn't have had to do that.
No.
And I think you could still get away with just adding the soup and a little bit of water to the pressure cooker, and I think that would have been perfectly fine.
Right.
You know, so you wouldn't have to babysit it as much, maybe. Right. But that's the only thing, actually. I think just as a general meal for the family, I think this works. It's tasty. I can't see anybody at your dinner table complaining.
No.
You know? So I think that's great. Now, next week, we're going to transition into a little bit of a newer Campbell's cookbook. I think it's from the 90s. Oh. I'm pretty sure. So I'll have to check on that. But I'm pretty sure we're going to skip a few decades and go up. But as for this cookbook, remember, I've got 2 of these to give away. And we will do it exactly like we did with our prior giveaway. We'll have a Google form in the description box below, and you will click on that, fill out the form, and then we will do a random drawing from that. So you will have a week from the time that I upload this video to go ahead and fill that out and run for your chance of getting one of these 2 vintage 1970s Campbell's cookbooks. Fill that out, and good luck to you guys. I can't wait to see where these are going to be shipped to in the world. And hopefully you'll stay tuned for next week, because we will, like I said, go into yet another Campbell's dish and see what's up a couple decades later. So thanks for watching this episode, and we'll see you for the next one. Bye.
And if you like historical cooking and unusual cookbooks, here's 2 more videos you might enjoy. And make sure to like and subscribe for more foodie adventures.